If you're sending a lot of marketing emails, eventually you might run out of the ability to send marketing emails. Then what? Welcome to the Everyday VOpreneur Summer Series, where I am inviting voice actors onto the show to ask their pressing business and marketing questions and get them answered. My guest today has a pressing question about email, so tell me about it, CJ Merritt. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Mark. How you doing, man? Thanks for letting me onto the show, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So my question for you is, it's kind of a compounded question a little bit, right? Because you have a week where you gather your leads and you're sending your emails out, right?
Okay.
And when you send out that email to that lead, I then put them in an email sequence.
Yep.
Where then after a week goes by, it will then send out another follow-up for me to that same email address.
Okay.
Now I send between 15 to 20 emails per day.
Okay.
Which means next week, 15 or 20 follow-ups will get sent out to those same emails.
Yep.
I've noticed that after a few days, or especially after a week, Gmail will start to tell me, hey, you're sending out quite a few emails from your domain. It's starting to look a little spammy there. So we're going to hold back half of your emails and keep them in the unsent folder for a period of time before we send those out. Okay. How do you fix that?
Okay. This is a really good question because it's something that I think it's probably something that we didn't really think a lot about prior to having functionality of something like Nimble sequences, for example, because I don't think any of us, if we're being honest, were as efficient with our follow-ups as we probably should have been prior to Nimble sequences. But now that we have the ability to automate that, what you get is a compounding effect. So let's say that you're sending 20 emails a day. And you're doing it 5 days a week, right? So easy math. So that means on week 1, you've sent 100 emails. But then on week 2, you're going to send another 20 every day. Plus you have your follow-up from the previous week. So you got 100 new emails, 100 follow-ups. But then on week 3, you send another 100 new emails. But then you have your follow-ups from week 2, your follow-up from week 3. So you got 200 emails. So by the time you get to week 4, you're sending 400 emails a week, which is 80 emails a day. And then that just continues, that can continue to compound on itself. And so I can see where you might potentially run into a problem. So there's a couple of things. One, let's just say you've got a 4-week follow-up sequence. By the time you get to week 5, you now have 100 emails falling off of the sent because those week ones are gone. So that helps, there's a little bit of attrition going through. Plus, if there's anybody that bounces or if there's anybody that unsubscribes or obviously replies, or what we're ultimately looking for, right, is replies, and then they're coming out of the sequences as well. So that can certainly help. But if you do your marketing consistently long enough over time, you can certainly run into an issue where you're sending too many emails. And so if you're on a free Gmail account, they allow 500 emails per day. And if you found yourself at a point where you were maxing that out and they're starting to hold back emails or whatever, if you upgraded to Google Workspace allows you to send 2,000 emails a day. So that makes a big difference. And it kind of varies. Free Outlook is 300 a day. Office 365, if you pay for that, it's 10,000 emails a day. Free GoDaddy is about 250 emails a day. So there's kind of a varying range, right? From a couple hundred a day up to, a few thousand a day. So if you get to a point where you've got that many emails going out, one of the things that you might want to be looking at is, do I need to upgrade to a higher tier, like a Google Workspace, for example, so I can get access to more emails? So that's one thing. The other thing is, because it specifically mentions that it's holding back some of your emails because maybe you're looking kind of spammy, one of the things that I would be looking at there is, can I mix up my emails a little bit? So with your sequences, what does that look like? Do you just have like one general follow-up sequence? Are you running multiple sequences? What does that look like for you?
Right now, I actually only have 2. I have one that's focusing on video production people and the other one that's focusing on e-learning.
Okay. Are those email sequences very different?
They kind of have the same message where they're both just kind of like, hey, following up, this is an extra service I could offer you. But ultimately, they are different.
Okay.
But they have the same message.
That would be one of the things that I would be looking at is, can I mix up my email sequences a little bit more? So I have multiple sequences that are running. I break them up by genre, but each one is very distinct, right? The messaging that I'm sending to commercial, very different from the messaging that I'm sending to e-learning, very different from the messaging that I'm sending to documentary, very different from the messaging I'm sending to corporate video. So even though I've got a lot of different sequences running, a lot of different emails going out throughout the day, they're all pretty distinct messaging. So it's not like I'm sending 100 of one specific message every day. I might be sending 5 or 10 of some of these different messages every day. So making sure that your email sequences are very distinct, I think that's one of the things that you can look at. The other thing is, do you currently have your sequence set so that it sends at a certain time?
Oh, good question. I'm not actually sure. I think the way it's set up would be the same time that you sent it last week. That's
Okay.
what I'm assuming.
So that would be the ideal, because I know in Nimble sequences, you do have the ability to go in and set a time. So I want this message to fire on, 4 days after the original at 1 o'clock in the afternoon or whatever. If you do something like that, if you set up a feature like that, then what's going to happen is if you've got 100 people in that sequence, 100 messages are going to go out at the same time, at 1 o'clock, if that's what you set it at. Whereas if you don't set a specific send time, then you're right. In theory, it sends at the same time that you sent the email previously. Now, for me, I don't have a lot of windows in my days anymore where I can just sit down and send a whole bunch of emails at once. I'm sending an email here. A couple hours later, I'm sending another couple emails. A couple hours later, I'm sending a couple more emails. So I literally have emails just kind of sprinkling like fairy dust throughout my day, which helps on the spam side. If you're sitting down from 10 until 11 every morning and sending out 20 emails, then that just means every single day from 10 until 11 in the morning, all of your emails are going, right? All of your initial emails and every subsequent follow-up email. So that might be something else that you could look at is, can I mix this up? Can I do some marketing at, from 10 till 11 one day, and from 1 until 2 another day, and from 11 until noon another day? So you're mixing it up through the day. That way, not everything is sending at the same time. Does that make sense?
Yes, I think that's the big one for me because I'm always sitting down from 7 to 8 to send emails. And I think that's what might be the trigger
So
right there.
that's probably part of what's going on, is that all of your emails now, as they compound on top of each other, every one of those emails is going out at the exact same time.
Mhm.
Another thing that you could look at is periodically going in and just mixing up the sequence a little bit. So the easiest thing would be, can you go in every month or maybe every couple months and change up the subject lines, for example? Because otherwise, if you're not ever making any edits to the sequence, then you're literally sending the exact same set of messages over and over and over again every day, every week, every month for, however long you're doing it, which again could run the risk of looking spammy. And so going in periodically once a month, whatever, and even just changing up some subject lines or tweaking your emails a little bit, just anything that makes it look like it's slightly different. Things like that can certainly make a difference as well. Have you ever done that?
No. When I was creating my e-learning sequences, I did do that. I didn't go into the video production side and change it. I should have though. And that's a fantastic idea. Thank you.
Because that's it. How long has that sequence been running, right? Like if you've been running that sequence for a year, you've literally been sending identical messages for a year, which is one of the reasons why it might look that way. And so I think, aside from the potential spam issue, I think there's value in tweaking your email sequences every once in a while anyway, because if I've been sending the same messages for a month or a couple of months and I'm maybe not getting the response rate that I want, or I'm seeing a higher bounce rate or a higher unsubscribe rate or something, I may want to go in and tweak that sequence anyway, just to see, can I change those messages up just to get a little bit higher response rate or something like that. So that's something else that you could look at. Make sure that you are keeping your list clean. That's really important too. So if you are getting bounced messages, for example, make sure that you're checking at least a couple of times a week. I mean, ideally, if you're in your CRM, just double check every day, but at least a couple times a week, check to see, am I getting any bounced messages? Because if you're getting any bounces, get those people out of the sequence. Because if they bounce and it continues to send, that's going to hurt your email score, your deliverability score as well. So that can have an impact. That can make you look spammy. So keeping that list nice and clean, paying particular attention to, did somebody move on? Do I need to find a new email address for them, or do I need to replace that person in that company with somebody new so that that's not creating a bounce? So things like that can make a difference as well. You mentioned that you're sending with Gmail. Are you using free Gmail, or are you using Google Workspace?
I'm using Google Workspace.
You are using Google Workspace. So you should be able to send up to 2,000 messages a day without a whole lot of issue. So how many people do you think you've got going in your sequences right now? Do you know?
I can actually tell you right now, right quick, if I just go here and check it out.
Because you would have to have a lot of people in your sequences to be getting close to that 2,000 a day.
Yeah. So right now in my video production, I have 1,700 entered.
1,700 in there, but they're not all active in the sequence. Some of them have gone through it already.
Yes. 180 are active.
180 are active. Okay. So if you got 180 people active, that's still only technically 180 emails a week. So that's not even coming close to your 2,000 a day. So I'm thinking that, and I'm not a complete email deliverability expert here, but it sounds like the problem might be more with some of the sending habits than it is specifically with the number of emails that are being sent. And so that's where doing those little things that we talked about, mixing up the times a day that you're doing your marketing, which, it's tough when you get a routine or you've got certain times blocked out. But even then, the other option, if you're using Workspace, you have the option to still write the emails every morning, sit down from 7 to 8 or whatever it was that you said. This is when I do my marketing. Just schedule them to send a little bit later in the day.
Is that something you do through Nimble?
You can do that in if you're writing the emails in Gmail, you do have the ability to schedule send if you want to do that. So that's just if you want to say, this is my time, I need to stick to this time, this is my routine. That would be the option, would be to schedule the emails to send a little bit later. But just mixing them up throughout the day, I definitely think that in and of itself might help. So I mean, if I'm looking at what can I do right now to try to improve this a little bit, one would be staggering out your sending time. 2 would be taking a look at the content. Can I change anything up? Is it time to change up some subject lines, make small tweaks to the emails or something like that? If at all possible, can I break the sequences down a little bit more, into other genres or categories so I can have, even if you added one extra sequence into the mix that you were able to move some people into, and maybe it's like an A/B test thing, right? Maybe you have e-learning sequence A and e-learning sequence B, and they're just different messages. But that way it's limiting the number of same messages that are being sent consistently over and over again, which that in and of itself might help. Because I'm a Workspace user, so I would be in the same category as you. I don't think I've got quite as many emails going out as you do, but I've never had any feedback like that from Google. And I think that's part of the reason why is because my emails are getting sent sporadically throughout the day. I've got a lot of different email sequences. I'm always looking at the sequences and changing the content and stuff like that. So those are some of the things that I would play around with a little bit. The other thing, one more tip would be mxtoolbox.com. And I don't know if you're familiar with that, but if you go to mxtoolbox.com, now you're Google Workspace, so it shouldn't be an issue, but you can run your email through mxtoolbox.com and it's free to test it. And it will show you whether or not there are any issues with your email address itself. Like, is everything authenticated? Is your DKIM set up? Is your DMARC set up? Is your SPIF? And I don't know if you're familiar with any of that stuff or not. It's very technical junk that I don't fully understand, but I know it's really important.
Well, yeah, it was actually because of you in one of your articles that you wrote that I spent a couple of days on mxtoolbox.com and setting up my DKIM and my DMARC.
So you're all set. So as long as if your email is verified, that's a big part of it as well, right? Making sure that your email is verified.
And I think that's it too, because Google is literally sending me an email saying, hey, your DKIM is noticing that you're sending it out. So I'm like, okay.
So that would be a big part of it. So one other suggestion that I could think of off the top of my head, if you're consistently seeing that message from Google, it might be time just to slow down just a little bit. Maybe just send 10 a day for a couple of weeks. and just kind of ease that number off and then slowly start to build your way back up again. I mean, you've been sending consistently, so it shouldn't be a problem. But obviously, Gmail is seeing something that is making it concerned with the number of emails that are going out. So if you were to mix up the content a little bit, send fewer emails for a period of time, and then slowly kind of start to build your way back up again, that might make a difference as well.
Beautiful. Awesome. Yeah, those are great tips, man. I love it.
It's a really good question because it's something that I think we all run into at some point in time. And especially now with the ability to do automated messages, we have to be so much more careful because it can start to look spammy if you've just got the same stuff going out over and over and over again. I know one of the things that Nimble has done that I really appreciate too with group messages, it used to be that if you sent a group message, it blitzed out. You know, if you were doing a group message to 100 people, it sent all 100 of those emails simultaneously, like boom. That looks really spammy on your domain, and that can be really bad. And now, so I used to do it where if I wanted to send a group message to 100 people, I would break them up into segments of 20. And so I would send out 20, then tweak the email a little bit, send the next 20, tweak the email a little bit, send the next 20. And I was doing that to try to avoid sending 100 all at once. But now I've noticed that Nimble is dripping them out. Right? They're sending a few, then they're waiting a couple of minutes, then they're sending a few, then they're waiting a couple of minutes. Like little things like that can make a big difference on email deliverability and on your score as well. But some of those tips that we talked about, I think will be really helpful for you.
Beautiful. Awesome. I'm going to definitely implement some of those, man. I appreciate you so much.
All right, man. Good to have you on the show. Thanks for coming and asking your question.
Thank you so much, man. See you on the next one.